but to eventually say no to Bryce Cotton. It's not many people do that.
He actually had messaged me the crazy before as well, trying to get me there, and I got a text from Bryce and it said, so this is part 2 of trying to get you to Perth, and I was like, oh man, don't do this to me. I can't do it right now.
Welcome everybody. It might not look like it, but this is the new Huddle for NBL 24 and beyond. I'm Pete Hooley. I'm thrilled to be taking over what Liam Santamaria has built to this point. He's on to bigger and better things and doing a tremendous job. So I'm in the hot seat, looking forward to seeing what we can build out of this. And we're at the Blitz, and we've got the beautiful RAC v Royal Pines behind us. And for my first guest, I'm going straight to the top. I've got the big fella, the biggest free agent we had this year, Will McDowell-White. Will, firstly, mate, thanks for joining us. How are you feeling?
No worries, mate. I'll do anything for you, so it's good to be here.
Well, Will, we just talked a little bit about the backdrop in the opener. It's a soccer pitch here at Royal Pines, and you were just out there doing some conditioning, obviously, with the hand. Firstly, how was that? Because no one likes to be running in the best of times, let alone out there on the soccer pitch.
Yeah, no, first couple of steps I knew it was going to be a long one. But, you know, it's just got to be done when you're hurt. You've got to come back, be ready to play, be in good shape. So I'll tolerate it, but I hate it.
How's the Blitz been this week? Obviously, here in the Gold Coast, the weather's been great. You're here at the Royal Pines. I've been stuck somewhere on Cavill Street. I'm hating life. I come here and all the players are walking around. I'm sure some players might pop up in this. How are you enjoying it?
Yeah, no, I mean, a couple of boys have already said they want to come live here after being here for like 3 or 4 days. I mean, it's an unreal place to be. I guess I had the luxury growing up in Brisbane and only being down the highway. But yeah, just having fun here. Obviously not being able to play, but just taking it all in. And man, it looks like somehow it's going to be another better year than last year.
You a golfer?
Not at all. I'm a driving range guy, but I can't do anything at the moment.
That's what I was about to say. It doesn't help. But how is the hand feeling first? Because everyone's excited to see you hit the floor running in round 1. Doesn't look like that's going to be, but you're slowly making more progress than you would have assumed at this point.
Yeah, no, it's feeling better now. You know, I'm starting to get some movement without pain, which is good. It's more so just, you know, making sure you don't get hit at the moment, you know, re-breaks and things like that. But no, yeah, hopefully I can come back sooner, but I won't push it. But I know there's some people in Breakers camp trying to get that done.
What do you do in your downtime then? Because basketball, you love to work out. I mean, you're in terrific shape, and then it gets taken away from you, and you're running on a soccer pitch. And you're not a massive social media guy. You're not on there a whole lot. You'll repost a couple of things here and there. But so, what do you get up to?
Honestly, not much at all. I'm just sit at home, kind of movies, shows, watch the footy when it's on. Yeah, no, I'm one of the most probably laid back guys going around. So. Like I can literally sit down and do nothing and be okay with it.
What movies, TV shows are we going for here? Because, as I said, I'm not a massive adding to social media guy, but I'll just scroll reels and TikToks for hours, and I just don't see Will McDowell-White sitting there just scrolling reels for hours.
No, I'm more of a reel guy when I'm in bed, maybe for the last 30 minutes, before I'm off to sleep. But
so you are just like all of us.
Like a little bit, yeah, a little bit, but. I'm a big The Office fan. That's my guy, which is probably not a good show for today's climate.
Not many are though. Yeah, all the good ones aren't.
So yeah, you know, trying to find some new things here and there. Big, good understanding for the Marvel stuff going on, and yeah, that's kind of what I stick to.
Did you get to go out to any theme parks during the weeks you were here?
Yeah, we went to Movie World. I actually got kicked off a ride.
What for?
Because of my hand. I was there. I was strapped in, ready to go. And the lady comes up and says, we need to know your injury, like how long it's been, what's happened. And I said, at first I was going to lie and say it was just a bruise. I did it 6 months ago. But I was like, I should probably be safe. So I said, broken hand 2 weeks. And they're like, oh, yeah, no, sorry, you can't come on the ride.
Just because of the speed or something?
Yeah, they said you probably have to grip too hard because of the speed and all the turns and going upside down or whatever. But yeah, honestly, I was pretty upset. I was just standing on the side, just like almost crying, just watching these guys just have the time of their lives.
Also, you get kicked off that. They kick off Parker Jackson Cartwright for height reasons as well. So that's a bit unfortunate with that. Let's rewind. That's an unfair shot because he's a terrific bloke, and I'm excited to see him play. Let's rewind to the start of this free agency period, because the biggest one for you, no doubt, that you were the hottest name on the radar, and when every team is after you, a lot of people would think, geez, that must be such an amazing feeling. But I feel like it was a lot more than that. It was a lot tense and stressful.
Yeah, it does get stressful. Just like we were talking before, like I'm not a big like social media guy or likes to be on my phone, things like that. So when the phone's constantly like buzzing and people are ringing and texting, I got pretty overwhelmed, and something I probably didn't like. Sometimes you kind of tell your agents like, oh, you take care of it and I'll do nothing, but sometimes the people just come straight to you and they don't want to go around other people to get to you. So I was probably stressful for the whole free agency until I made a decision. So I was pretty happy to get it over with pretty quickly. Because
of that, do you feel like at a certain point that you were perhaps going to rush it because you were like, this is just too much? That sounds pretty much like what I want. Let's go with that. And was the agent or anyone else saying, hang on, there's a couple more things that are due to come through? How did it all work out? Did you want to get it over and done with really quickly?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, just to avoid all the stress. I didn't want to put me or my family through that. I was just with Nathan, my agent, and we just had to let's just take our time. We need to really look at things, and from what I heard, the NBL wasn't really the only option out there. There's things overseas, and I didn't really have much of an idea. Just got a couple of messages from the old mate Yanni Wetzel from over there in Germany. So I personally would have loved to get it free agency started, and I could have got it done straight away. It would have been great, but there was a lot of other things that had to take place.
You went into it saying that you would have loved to come back to New Zealand. Obviously, that was going to be the main focus of how you can get that done. But a lot of reports out there that Perth and Tassie were really close, and they were putting their hand up and fighting harder than every other team which had an offer. And how close were you to potentially moving to one of those?
Yeah, closer than a lot of people think. Tassie's a great place. The organisation runs well. It's they've had success very early, and just talking obviously Scott and everybody else, and obviously having Mika in Brisbane, that's kind of a close contact point. It was tough to turn down. You see the culture in the way they play, the way they handle themselves. We've seen it here at the Blitz, just the way they walk around as a group. Everything they do is together. It's a real culture. And then you look at Perth, and obviously having a relationship with Keanu for a while, and talking to him, and then talking to Bryce as well. It's like, man, I can't. It's gonna be hard to turn down the MVP, right? But I had to make a decision for me, and not for anybody else.
I couldn't imagine anything worse. I mean, you start with Tassie, and firstly, both teams are going to give you the keys. They want you to come and lead this program to a championship. Mika, obviously, and the relationship there, and that pops up on your phone. You're like, Mika, don't do this to me, man. It's already hard enough. Yeah. But Perth, KP, obviously, Keanu Pinder, and what you guys have been through together. And then when Bryce's name pops up, like, what are you saying? Because you try and turn down the chance to obviously play with him, but to eventually say no to Bryce Cotton. It's not many people do that.
Yeah. So, he actually had messaged me the phrasing before as well, trying to get me there, and. So I remember I kind of spoke to JR and Danny Mills, and I spoke to Perth, and then obviously KP, and then I got a text from Bryce, and it said, so this is part 2 of trying to get you to Perth. And I was like, oh man, don't do this to me. I can't do it right now. And we talked for a while, and obviously early on I was like, I'm coming. Like how could I say no to playing with KP, Bryce, Corey? I knew Alex Sale was coming in. I was like, man, this is going to be an elite team. But then at the same time, it's just hard to leave someone that you trust so much in Mody, and knowing the people he can bring into this club, and just elevate it the way he did from where we were before he kind of took the helm. So, as soon as I signed with New Zealand, I was like, should I have done that? Or should I have went to Perth? I don't know what to do. But seeing how things have turned out, I'm pretty happy.
Tell us a little about why ultimately then that decision for New Zealand, because your relationship with Mody, you've come out and you've been so high on it. It's like a father figure for you over there off the floor. So much so that after our interview at Media Day, and he came in, and dad, son, and we're talking about that kind of stuff. Yeah. But he seems like a guy who understood that your value was out there in free agency and everyone was going to pitch, and he wasn't going to overstep being like, come on, man, come on. Because he said he was quietly confident that that relationship would stand up. And take the dollar figures out of it, because they were going to be pretty big around Australia. You don't have to release it here if you don't want. I wouldn't mind knowing that.
Yeah, maybe off air.
Yeah, but so what was that selling point on it? Was he just waiting outside the door at home, or like what was going on?
Yeah, he did come to the apartment once. Scared the hell out of me. I was like, you can't come to my apartment. I don't want you knowing where I live, you know. But yeah, for me, it look back at how far I've come since coming back to the NBL, and it was all from when Mody was that assistant coach and just helping me develop over those 3, and the first year as head coach. Like, he's just taking me places I never thought, well, not even just me, that a lot of people think I couldn't go to, and just him giving me the opportunity to, I guess, run the team. For me, it was just a trial. I just wanted to see if I could do it. That was all I really wanted to do last year, see if I could do it. And he was just, he was great. He let me make mistakes. I think the second half of the year I really came into my own and really took charge of that group. But yeah, it's all the work that we had done previously that got me back. No one else knows my game more than him. He's the one that really built it. So, it's hard when it's hard to leave when you look at everything that we had been through.
You talk about hard to turn down Perth because that roster was kind of nearing being set with just adding you. You said, okay, geez, I've got to turn down Bryce, KP, Corey, Alex Sarr. That was obviously not announced, but they knew it was coming. Going to New Zealand where they just lost the imports that you played with last year, and it was kind of a blank slate. I'm assuming Mody was basically saying, one, trust me, I'm going to put a team around you, but I'm also, if you come back, I'm going to put the best pieces around you that we're going to, one, contend for a title, but two, your game's going to go to another level. Is that kind of how it went down?
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly how it went down. I kind of knew one of our imports a while before it was announced, actually.
Who was that?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
Surely, they're locked in now. They're locked in now. All the conversations are happening.
So I was told Zylan was in.
Oh, he's a beast.
I think it might have been like a month and a half before it happened. So, and I remember him from his kind of Pelicans days and G League days. As soon as he mentioned that, I was like, so okay, this is going to, Mody's serious. He's serious about wanting to run this thing back and win one more game. So knowing how Z plays and being familiar with him, that was, he was really one of the bigger selling points for me.
Really?
As well. Yeah, I just knew, we've seen what he can do. Just imagine running pick and rolls with him all game and being on the fast break, running the lanes. It's gonna be so much fun. So he was also another reason.
I'm assuming you have been sitting back watching the Blitz, watching some other players, not yourself, with those little dump-off passes and him coming through the lane and just picking and choosing. Once that relationship goes, I mentioned it on the call that there's going to be some highlight plays because he is a beast. And you mentioned having known beforehand. When I spoke to Mody in Vegas, he was saying that he wanted him last year. Yep. He was going after him. That was one piece once he took over the head coaching role he's been chasing. Finally got it to happen. And similar to Jarrell Brantley in a way, but I think that it's a piece that, one, is exciting for the league, but you look at the other pieces around and him bringing back Finn Delaney as well, and all of a sudden the break is you put the trust in the right person and it's paid off.
You obviously saw what he did the year before, so we knew he wasn't going to bring any bad people into the locker room. That's what he does. He recruits people more than basketball players. He doesn't really care if we don't have the most talented team. He's going to have us playing the right way regardless. He's a genius with the way he goes about it. So, we know we're going to have good people, and that really goes a long way.
Talk to me a little bit about, because we mentioned that everyone says this week it's just like Will, the money man Will, is free agency and stuff. But you just told me before off air that I'm not sure it was a roommate or a teammate that, unfortunately, when the bank statement comes through on the phone, if your phone's in a public place, someone's going to see it. What happened there?
Yeah, I don't know. We were just kind of hanging out, and it just came through, and I was trying to hide it because I don't really want anybody to know what's going on there.
For sure.
So we're just sitting there, and he goes, "Oh yeah, okay." So he saw it, and he said, "Oh, okay, so drinks on you on the last night." And I just said, "Sorry, boys, not coming out. I'm staying in. I'm injured. I don't want to, make this hand thing any longer than it has to be." So it's been a running joke for the last week, and
It's going to continue to be.
it's been annoying.
Do you hate that?
I hate it.
Is that because of just who you are as a
it's just
person? Or is it someone...
I think obviously Dad had the career he had, and he probably wasn't really the smartest with money, and so we didn't really. I think people don't realise we didn't really grow up with. Or maybe for the early years when he was still playing, we were fine, but I think a lot of people don't realise that we've been kind of struggling for a long time, really. So something, I don't want people knowing that, and I'm very strict with it with the money. I really only buy groceries. Like I don't even.
Right.
I've been wearing the same clothes for 5 years. Like I'm not out there trying to spend any more money than I have to. So people obviously the boys are going to joke about it, but it's kind of in some ways it's a little sensitive topic.
Is it when you have your reflecting moments and signing the contract of whatever it was, and because of everything you've been through with the family growing up, do you have that sense of pride of like, this is an unbelievable achievement, and to be able to go back to your family and maybe it's you're buying something for them and all your brothers and stuff rather than yourself?
Yeah, it is. Right now I'm probably the only one who's kind of making that, making a good wage, I guess. And my parents have done so much. There's 8 of us, and for a lot of time, Mum did it by herself. Obviously with Dad just being away every second weekend, and still. I mean, he's 50 now, and he's still trying to play, and it's just ridiculous.
Still going around.
Yeah, he's still trying to act like a big dog. And it's like, come on, like his knees don't work, his ankles are black, fingers are at right angles. It's really cool to know that maybe in the near future I can do something for them that that'll be nice for everything that they've done for us.
Let's go back to obviously for age that you signed with New Zealand, and you didn't stay around to work out. You went overseas. What is the joy about getting over to America to work out in the off season? And plus, for once, I feel like you could really work out as a true point guard. Like this is now, you've played off the ball a little bit as a combo guard, but now you've solidified yourself as, Australia's best local point guard that we've seen now that Josh Giddey has moved on. Yeah. So is that something you've been focusing on? But why move overseas for a little bit to just go and train?
Yeah, one of it's the weather, for sure. Get a nice get a little tan, put on for the culture in that way. But you're just around high level guys. Our trainer in LA, he developed Kawhi. As a teenager in his first years in the league, Clint's got endless NBA guys that he's right now is with Kyle Kuzma and the McDaniels brothers, getting those guys paid. So it's high level. He does a lot of reps. Sometimes, on a regular workout you might make 10, but he'll say make 50. It's just the environment, being around some of the best in the world, picking up little things, and they'll give you advice every day. So it's some of it's more than basketball, but it's just kind of where the best players are. You
went from there to Boomers camp, and you were open about putting on the Boomers jersey last year and what that meant to you. But talk to me about stepping into the environment the first time. Paddy's there, Joe's there, all these guys that have come in, the NBA guys. Was it daunting? I feel like for me, it would be kind of freak me out to step into an environment that everyone's talking about the culture, everyone's talking about the success coming off Tokyo. How was it for you?
I mean, it was daunting for me. I don't really know many of the guys there. I probably only really know like Froles and KP and Jack White. Like, I don't really know anybody else. So I was definitely the quietest one there. And you talk about all these NBA All-Stars and championships and just 10 plus years in the league. Like I was completely overwhelmed. I was just like I've said it numerous times. Like I didn't think I deserved to be there. I didn't want to step on the court. First day I was like, no, I'm not going to go out there and embarrass myself against these athletes. But the guys and the coach as well encouraged me to get out there. I got out there and got comfortable and felt good out there. But just being in the environment, it's different. It's a different level. They even had the playlist with Australian artists only, which was kind of sick. It was good. Boys are having dinners together every night, and they're always trying to do something together, which is it's just showing these younger guys the way to do it and the way to be successful. So it's going to be in good hands.
You mentioned KP, and obviously you've both been role models in the Indigenous community and what you continue to build. And Paddy, there's probably no bigger role model in that as well. And all three of you up in Cairns and everything that was going on up there. Tell us a little bit about how cool that must have been.
Yeah, it was really good. It was really cool when Paddy took us out, just outside of Cairns, and we did what they call like a Cup Murray. It's just kind of underground oven, really, one of those things. And so it was just cool to see. The other guys who probably haven't experienced that before, just their eyes light up, like what's going on. And us three were at the same table eating and talking about, the way we grew up and things, and our favourite meals, and the food we had brought us, felt like we were at home. And that was really cool. It's always for us. It's always cool to see other guys see our culture, and they always want to be knowledgeable about it and ask questions, and just get to know more. It's nice to see that they want to understand us.
I want to take you back even further now to when you first came back into the NBL, and I can't remember how many games I was in when you got that triple-double. It was down in Tassie behind closed doors. Yeah. When you first suited up for the Breakers, what was that immediate goal for the next 12 months? Did you want to get a solidified NBL contract? Were you just looking to fill some time before you went back overseas? What was your mindset like when you first got back?
Yeah, I was kind of just coming off my foot injury, and I really didn't know what was going to happen. So when I first did it, it was just kind of, I've got a contract at least. I've got somewhere I can work. I really thought I'd just finish out that year, and I'd probably try and end up back home in Brisbane, or just keep getting kind of low deals in the NBL and just stick it out here. And I guess Dan Shamir liked me enough to want me to come back, and and then Mody was the same. So I really didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if I was going to be good enough to even just keep playing basketball at a high level. And we see a lot of guys go to footy, so I was like, maybe I might be the next candidate for it after this.
Well, you honestly, so it sounds like back then it was like you obviously loved playing the game, but nowhere near as to where it was now. At what point did you re-find that you obsessed with the game and love it to the point where you become Australia's best local point guard?
Yeah, I think a lot of it will probably come with opportunity. You see a lot of guys who, when they're not getting opportunity, they always kind of deflect and say, I don't really like the game. This is not for me. Like, I'm gonna quit in 2 years or whatever. It's just, but once you get that opportunity, you realise how much you really do love it. And that's really what it was. I was injured for 2 years basically. I probably played 30 games in 2 years. That's how bad it was. And I just thought, man, if I'm not going to be healthy after 2 years, like when's that going to happen? When am I going to get back? So that was really the mindset I had. And I've had a couple of times where it was like, is basketball really worth it at this point? So, but no, I'm glad I decided to come to New Zealand, and it's really. It's just revitalised me in a way, and I just felt really good since coming back.
Who do you turn to in those moments where you might be you've been injured or you're struggling, and a lot of people, you turn to family, you've got a lot of siblings, this is older brothers, younger brothers, or is it someone that you just say, look, I'm really just better off on my own, or I do my own thing, I do my own reflection? What happens when you get in those moments?
Yeah, most I just do it myself. I feel like, in the past when I've kind of asked other people, it's more been so for their benefit. So I've kind of learned just to do it myself. But if there's anyone I'll talk to, it'd probably be my agent. He's because I've known him since I was about 16. So I've really been, as much as we joke I've been a son to Mody, I've really been a son to him for a long time. And he keeps it real with me whenever we talk. So he's just a really good person to talk to when you get in those moments. And usually we come out with some good ideas.
Are you half decent? Is it just because of the name? Because your brother's, I think, has gone Cat B as well now.
He's been in VFL this year. Oh, and last year as well. But no, there was a time. I think I would have been about 15 or 16, somewhere around there. And obviously, with a lot of kids, the money was kind of drying up with how many sports we were all doing. So there was a day where Dad said, "You two need to choose what you want to do, and that's it. We'll leave me at that." And so yeah, my brother, like everybody else was like, yeah, basketball, and I was like, I think I want to play footy. Like I think I want to hit some people. You know, I want to get angry. And then so yeah, I didn't play basketball for a while, for a couple months, whatever, and then. Dad, it was weird. Like, Dad came up to me and said, I think maybe you should try basketball. I think, you're better suited to it. I think it was more so the fact he was probably a bit nervous that I might have had a better career in footy than he did. So I was like, yeah, no, fair enough, Dad, I'll do it for you.
That would have been some career.
That's kind of how that all started, yeah. Really, in the beginning, basketball wasn't really the go-to for me.
I'd love to know some of those backyard just stories growing up playing sport, because Daryl older,
yeah.
Kobe younger.
Yeah.
Is that, and then younger after that?
Yeah, there's 4 younger after that.
Yeah.
After Kobe.
So we're rolling out footies, we're rolling out basketballs after school, soccer,
balls, rugby balls. We're playing touch, tackle. We'd play touch with sisters, We'd give them the ankle taps.
Yeah.
Face straight into the grass. It was good times. But oh man, there was some. Every time we bought a new ring, it was broken within a week.
Right.
Obviously, as brothers, you love dunking on each other, so we'd lower it and you'd put it on a poster so you're hanging there for a little bit. It got to the point where it was just. We broke it so many that Dad just said, no, that's it.
Done.
Go to the court.
Yeah.
Go to the stadium and work out and dunk on each other there. But no, there was some fierce battles, a lot of fights. I've thrown some things at Daryl. He's came and punched me in the face. It's been like that. But that's how it is. That's where you kind of build your character, and it's really that's where you really show where you're at with as far as toughness, like mentally, physically. Like, do you keep going at your older brother, or do you just run and cry to your parents? And he has to tell him to be softer for you. But Daryl used to beat the hell out of me. He used to kill me, and it used to make me so mad because I knew I was better, and he used to kill me, and I hated it.
You had, I think it was for Rip City, where you, Daryl, and Kobe were playing.
Red City,
Rip City. Yeah. What was that like? That moment, because all three of you together, that must have been a full circle moment. Yeah. There's some pictures of you on the floor. How cool was that?
Yeah, no, it was. That's something that I think all three of us, the whole family, remember forever. Because the year before that, it was during COVID, so Kobe played for Spartans while me and Daryl was at Red City, and then so Kobe made the move and. The best thing about it though was that we debuted all together on Indigenous round. So for us to all come together in that specific round was pretty special. I think Daryl had injury, so I sat out the week before, and then we all came there Indigenous round and put on an absolute show. We actually beat Rip City, which was good. Hitting some deep trays and just putting on some highlights. This was good.
Did it make you feel like you were just back in the backyard?
Literally, it just felt like we were just like working out, like just going to the stadium or in the backyard and just messing around, like no one's there, just making up random plays. I remember there was a possession where I kicked it up to Kobe, and then Kobe threw a no look to Daryl, and Daryl almost put it on someone's head, and it was just like, damn, this is they talk about brothers knowing where each other are. That was pretty sick. That was a pretty sick play.
Is all of that, now that you're looking back here, and we talked about free agency and all the chaos that ensued, is it hard for you to remember how that is? You were just a kid not that long ago. Because you are still only 25. People forget you've been around now. The name's so high that you're still only 25, but that would have been, all that happened 10 years ago.
Yeah, it really does. I know, every time someone asks me how old I am, a new player of the team, I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm 25. I'm damn, you've been around for ages. I thought you were 29. I'm like, damn, all right, calm down. But it does feel like so long ago. But it's we've got the photos and videos at the house just on replay, so it's good.
Lastly here, we appreciate your time, but what are your personal goals and aspirations? You've had the taste around some summer league stuff, some NBA stuff. Is that still a goal for you you'd love to attain?
Yeah, of course. Love to get to the NBA, love to be at that highest level with the best players in the world. But if my talent doesn't take me there, it doesn't. I don't want to, I see a lot of people try and say, if I make it to the NBA, if I don't make it to the NBA, I failed, and that's not what I want mine to be. I want to maximise it like everybody else, but yeah, I don't want to view it as if I don't make it to the NBA, my career failed. You can have an unbelievable career overseas in the NBL, win championships all around the world, and just be internationally respected by everybody.
Do you feel like that mindset right there? Because as you mentioned, the people who want to attain to that put that pressure on themselves, and they go into the next season ahead of them, and if they don't play well because of all that pressure, then it's completely off the table. Do you feel like going into that mindset helps you, one, whatever will be, I'm happy with that because I've already made it here, which might be already further. Is where you're at now further than you thought you would be at 25?
100%. I mean, when I was like 17 or like in my senior year of high school, I didn't even know if I was going to be a pro.
Right.
I was like, as good as I was as a junior, it's just the mentality I had. I was like, am I going to be good enough by the time I'm 19? Like, I don't know what I was going to do. So now that I'm here at 25, like, I couldn't be any more happier right now.
Well, Will, we appreciate your time, and I will ask you one more thing because you fell one game short of a grand final win last year being a champion. I didn't want to delve too far into it.
Yeah, that's fine.
What's it going to take to do it this year? A new team. You've obviously still got the same kind of culture, but what's it going to take for the Breakers to win?
Nothing short more than everything, I guess. As long as we take care of our bodies and we come in ready to work, just as long as we stay disciplined, we'll be fine. I think you look at our team talent-wise, we're probably a lot deeper than last year. We've got an all-NBL player coming off the bench at the moment. As long as we don't get in each other's way, egos don't creep around in the team, we'll be just fine. And I think we have the right guys for that.
Do you want to be on the facilitating end of the Dunk of the Year as well? Because it seems like it's going to happen.
Maybe I could be on Dunk of the Year. No.
You did have your own dunk. Don't forget, everybody you slept on you. That was against Toy Smith-Milner in round 2, I think, a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I think people forget. That was a point guard on a centre. So
robbed, I think you were.
Yeah, people. My Creakies was good like 24 hours later, but mine wasn't like a big guy, so I feel like I should get extra points for that.
I agree. Will, man, appreciate your time. Get healthy, and we'll see you around.
Appreciate it.